Good evening. I call to order the business meeting of the Cave Creek Unified School District Governing Board. It's Monday, July 12, 2021, and it's 6 p.m. Roll call, item 1.2. All board members are here. Member Busby is here telephonically, so she's listening in and will participate. So we're going to need to speak loudly, y'all, so that Member Busby can hear. Cabinet members, Dr. Monroe, Ms. Scott, Dr. Jensen, and Ms. Rodriguez are all present. Item 1.3, formal adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Member Hatcher, I'd like to pull out of action consent item 5.1, please.
Okay.
And we can place that right after action consent.
Okay. All right. So there's a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. The agenda is adopted as amended. Item 1.4, call to fill out forms for call to the public. We have one, so I'll read the admonition in a couple minutes. Item 1.5, Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 1.6, President's Report. I really don't have anything to report, just welcome to all the new people as we start a new year. Board comments?
I was just going to say the same thing. It's nice to have all of you here.
All right. Item 1.7, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Monroe?
President Hatcher, members of the board, I echo what Member Fortney and President Hatcher has said. I'd like to officially welcome our new cabinet members, Marcy Rodriguez, Dr. Patty Jensen, Executive Director of Elementary Leadership, and Mrs. Nancy Scott, our Executive Director of Secondary Leadership. I think there's a lot of excitement as we're gearing up for the new year. People are moved into offices, the wheels are spinning, and work is happening for the school year that's going to open here in the next few weeks. So it's very exciting. The district office is hopping, and there's a great vibe for the upcoming school year. Planning is underway for our new teacher orientation. I know various of the board members, you're welcome to attend that if you would like. We'd love to have you come and meet our new staff in the morning. And I know you have some information on that, but planning is well underway for our new staff members, as well as us continuing to close the gap to find some final staff members. I'm also excited tonight because we're recommending Mrs. Sarah Barella to be hired as the position of Cactus Shadows High School. As the board is aware, interviews were held last week. The interview committee consisted of 5 teachers, one who is a teacher and a coach, 2 parents, assistant principal, athletic director, the administrative assistant, the plant manager, 2 coaches, and I'm very happy to say 2 students that we were so blessed to have them volunteer their time to be on the committee, a sophomore and a senior, as we went through the selection process, along with myself, Mrs. Scott, Mr. Dolezal from the district office. So we're excited. I'm excited to recommend Mrs. Barella to the board tonight. Today, also to let the board know, we had day 1 of 2 of our principal retreat. A retreat is a meeting where we do team building, we do some leadership learning, and in the afternoon today, we actually volunteered our time at the Caring Corps. We trying to be very intentional that we're members of this community, that it's a one-team approach, just like our school district. And so tomorrow in day 2, we're going to do some professional learning and planning in the morning, and then we'll be at Kiwanis in the afternoon. And they're just gracious enough to host us and make a big deal out of it. And board members are welcome to come and come see us at Kiwanis. All of our principals and new leaders just to meet and greet the community, let them know of our love and affection for their students and our excitement for the new year. So that will be tomorrow. But that is my superintendent report. So we are gearing up to go for the new year.
Okay, thank you. So, Ms. Scotto, I have a question for you then, based off of something Dr. Monroe just said. If board members are invited and more than 3 show up, is there something that's been posted that, okay, all right, thank you. Item 2, presentation of awards for schools and departments. We have none. Item 3, public comments. I'll read this because we have one person speaking. According to ARS 38-431.01H, governing board members may not discuss or take legal action on matters raised during an open call to the public. The only allowable responses a governing board member may make are, number 1, board member may respond if there is direct criticism of the board member. Number 2, board member may direct staff to look into a matter, or, number 3, board member can ask to have this item placed on a future agenda. Speakers need to be mindful of what they say when presenting to the board. Inappropriate comments could be considered slanderous. And we have Jaylene Griffin. And Ms. Griffin, you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you. And thank you to the board. And my first thing is I want to thank you all for opening the schools, the elementary schools specifically. I have grandchildren. And I was very proud, and I was able to brag to all my friends that our schools are open. So I'm very proud that you did that. So good for you all. We're very happy to know that Governor Ducey signed the no mask. So I'm pretty sure you put out an email saying that children would not have to go back in masks. So we're hoping that, that's true. And I want to thank you. At the last meeting, you talked about the gifted program, which is dear to my heart since one of my grandchildren is going to 5th grade at Lone Mountain is in the gifted program. So, and you're going to work on doing improvements, it sounded like. So I think that's very important. I think there's room for improvement. So thank you for that. And I also went back and watched one of your videos where you had a large crowd about you dropped the Mandarin speaking. And thank you for doing that. I honestly think our tax dollars need to go somewhere else. They want to hire their own tutors. They can have a co-op group. They can do the Mandarin on the side. I think we have more important things to spend our money on. So I 100% support you on that. Okay. And the other thing I want to talk to you about, which is sort of dear to my heart, and I know Ducey did sign the bill, 2898, I'm sure you're all aware of it, about critical race theory, and you guys have been very supportive so far. I just want to make sure that you understand, I'm sure you all understand what critical race theory is, I'm not sure, but I'm going to read a little from Chris Rufu, who I'm sure you've all heard about. He's been on national news as a critical race theory expert from Georgetown. He just spoke in Scottsdale this weekend, and he says critical race theory is an academic discipline formulated in the 1990s built on the intellectual framework of identity-based Marxism. And the ideology in our public institutions is injected through teacher training programs, diversity training, school curriculum, and euphemisms describe critical race theory, including equity, social justice, diversity, inclusion. Now, there's other names out there. That's what I want you to be aware of. They slide them in. You probably won't do it, but I just want you to know that we're all aware of it. SEL, unfortunately, social emotional learning, is a slippery slope. It can be considered critical race theory depending on how you work it into the system. Restorative justice is another name. Diversity and equality, culture inclusive, and the new one out there, transformational emotional learning. So even though Randy Weingarten, which I'm sure you've heard her come out and say, I know critical race theory is racism. We don't want our children to be divided and scared, okay? Their minds are young. They are colorblind. We want them to be left that way. Let them think for themselves. We as parents can discuss this if we want to with them, okay? Your job is just to teach the children's real history, which includes good, bad, and the ugly. We all know that's how we learn where we're going to be going with our children, because as you know, 36% of students right now hate America. And we don't want that. We want to instill our children right now to be proud to be Americans and learn their correct history.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Item 4, presentations, informations, reports. We have none. Item 5, action consent. Is there a motion to approve item 5, action consent, as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 We hear you loud and clear.
Yay.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion carries. Item 5 is approved as presented. Item,
President Hatcher, excuse me if I can interrupt. I'd like to invite Mrs. Barella to come up to the microphone. I'd like to introduce her. And Member Busby, we hear you coming in loud and clear, so thank you for being here. But with the approval of that consent agenda item, the board has just named Mrs. Sarah Barella as the new principal at Cactus Shadows High School. Just for who's in the audience and the board, I'd like to read this. Mrs. Barella has just finished her 20th year in education, all of which have transpired within the Arizona public school system. She graduated from NAU in 2000. She began her career as a high school English teacher at Sunrise Mountain High School. She also coached Spirit Line there, and she was a student government class sponsor. While teaching, she went to NAU and earned her master's degree in educational leadership. In 2008, she moved to Liberty High School, where she continued to teach English, was a class sponsor for student government, and became a member of the school's leadership team. In 2014, she left the classroom and moved to the district office, where she worked for 2 years as an instructional coach for K-12. The 13 years in the classroom and the 2 years as an instructional coach were very formative in her growth as an educator and provided a very solid foundation of quality leadership, curriculum, instruction, and decision making. In 2016, Sarah accepted a job as the assistant principal at Saguaro High School. She spent a year at Saguaro over special education, 504, student activities, and testing and accountability. In 2017, she was promoted to the assistant principal over educational services at Chaparral High School in the Scottsdale Unified School District. She spent the last 4 years as a Firebird over seniors, AP testing, the guidance department, graduation, and master scheduling. On a personal note, Mrs. Barella enjoys spending time with her husband and family. Her oldest daughter will start her journey as a Wildcat in the fall. Her other daughter will be a sophomore at Liberty High School, and her son will be a third grader at Coyote Hills Elementary School. She's honored to accept the position of principal of Cactus Shadows High School, and I introduce to you Mrs. Sarah Barella.
Hi. Thank you, President Hatcher, Governing Board, Superintendent Dr. Monroe, and community for this opportunity. I know the Cactus Shadows community is amazing, and I'm so excited and honored to be a part of that community next year serving as the principal. I look forward to working with you guys and the community as we move Cactus Shadows forward. Go Falcons.
thank you and welcome.
Yep.
All right. Item 5.1, meeting minutes, June 15th and 28th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve item 5.1 as presented?
Moved.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion.
Member Hatcher, I asked to have that pulled. The meeting minutes for June 15th are fine, acceptable as they were presented to us. Let me look at my note here. Would like to thank Ms. Lynch for filling in to do the minutes for us that meeting. It's the meeting minutes from June 28th where the question has come up in regards to what was then agenda item number 9. I think we just need to clarify some of the verbiage of what the board had voted on for that agenda item.
No, that page is good. Thank you. Okay. And Member Brown, can you say more before I jump in there?
There's 2 items, we list it twice. One is on, would be the second line of the paragraph that refers to a percentage that was recommended for the performance pay. And then there's also an item it's listed on what would be line number 10 of that same paragraph, deals with there's a couple of different percentages that's stated in the minutes, but the 2 items kind of contradict each other and I think we need to just clarify that.
Okay, I'll speak to what I said because that comes first. I said 0.5 of the 10% total eligibility. In superintendent contracts, they can be awarded a percentage of, for performance pay. And so because Dr. Monroe was here for half the year, that's where I got the 0.5, which is the same as a half. So it's a half or 0.5, 50%, another way to say it, of the 10% total eligibility. As I read that line, I still feel like it's correct, that it's been stated correctly. The 5% of the 10%, to me, that should read 50% of the 10%, or stop at 50%. You know, but member Walker, that was your statement, so
Yeah, receiving half of the 10% or 50%. Or I guess why he's just receiving 5% instead of 10%.
right. I mean, yeah. So which way do you want it to? Which way would you suggest that your statement read?
I think 5% instead of the eligible 10% for the fiscal year.
So you're suggesting that we delete of the 10%, the words of the 10%?
Maybe instead of the, or add it instead of the 10%, why he's receiving 5% instead of the 10%.
All right, let me
It's a
review it.
5%.
So, yes, yeah, it's 5% of just salary. So say it again. How would you suggest that be?
I think we just need to add the word instead after 5%.
Okay.
Why he's receiving 5% instead of the 10% for this fiscal year.
Okay,
Yeah, Member Hatcher, although this is the board's to decide according to the minutes, you may even want to match the language exactly how it is in both lines. That may be a consideration for the boards, just to make sure the top and the bottom line match, if
Yep.
that's just for clarity purpose.
We can do
Maybe a
that.
consideration.
Yeah, that's fine as well.
So
So why he's
then,
receiving
yeah.
half of the 10% for the fiscal year? 0.5 would match, I guess.
Or I can change my 0.5 to read 50 with the percent sign following. Whatever the board would like, to keep it consistent. But we would need to insert that word instead then, because otherwise it's not correct.
Right.
So board, what do you think?
The word instead would work for Member Walker's statement. And just so the people attending the meeting and will watch this, the little bit of the confusion is Dr. Monroe, while is paid on a fiscal year salary, this first 6 months from January to the end of June, it was a half of a year. So that's why there's a little confusion with total eligibility is actually, as written in the contract, it's total eligibility for a fiscal year, but he only worked the half year, and his contract was written that way. It's just more or less just to be clear of how we're stating it. Now that we've gone through the first 6 months with Dr. Monroe, now he is on cycle with the rest of the district and will be on a full fiscal year pay program. So this time next year, we won't have the same issue come up of just the verbiage confusion.
Right, and that the fiscal year goes from July 1 till June 30th instead of calendar year.
Okay, so board, would you like for me to change my 0.5 to read 50%, 50% sign, to be consistent with showing percentages?
I believe so. I think we
Okay.
should keep it all percentages.
All right?
And President Hatcher, when you guys make the motion, it would be good to have the exact wording so we can have it very clear in the minutes for Mrs. Scotto.
All right. So we'll change that and then insert the word instead between 5% and of. Is that what I'm hearing, that the board would like that motion to read? Is it,
It's,
Yes.
that makes it sound understandable.
does that sound better?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
So President Hatcher, why don't you read it for clarity? That way we make sure Mrs. Scotto gets it nice and clear.
So on the third line, I'll start with the word that Dr. Monroe received $7,750, which is 50% sign of the 10% total eligibility, blah, blah, blah. Going down to line where it begins, Member Walker. Member Walker said that's why he's receiving 5% instead, insert the word instead, of the 10% for the fiscal year. Then the rest of the sentence. All right, so. I make a motion to amend item 5.1.
So
in the-
moved.
In the June, let me, Member Busby, do you want to say something?
No, I'm good with what you guys have discussed.
Okay, all righty. So I'll make a motion to amend the meeting minutes for June 28th with the verbiage that I just read to Ms. Scotto. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain. Motion carries. Item 5.1 is amended as just presented.
President Hatcher, members of the board, did we approve the June 15th minutes?
Oh, well, no, because we broke them out. Well, no, not formally. So let's do that. Let's just separate
Great.
them out.
I'll make a motion to accept the June 15th, 2021 Governing Board minutes as presented.
Second?
Okay. All right. It's been moved and seconded to approve item 5.1 meeting minutes for the June 15th, 2021 meeting minutes. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain. Motion carries. Item 5.1, meeting minutes for June 15th are approved as presented. All right, item 6, old business, that we have none. Item 7, new business, none. Item 8, future agenda items, none. Item 9, upcoming calendar events. Do you want to say anything about?
President Hatcher, members of the board, August 4th, we are very excited for that first day of school. Unbelievable that those words are coming out of my mouth, that it's August 4th, just a few weeks away. And unbelievable that I'll mention that Labor Day is on September the 6th when there's no school, and on September the 7th is our fall recess. So the summer is flying by, but we are ready for August 4th. We're getting ready for August 4th.
All righty, thank you. Item 10, adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned.